Hello and welcome to the Bears and Lions podcast. I am your host, Kyle Vaught, and you might see that I am in the new apartment. I give you an update in today's episode about the move. So we're actually here. I'm really excited about that. I also share a little bit on setting the tone for 2024. We've got 4 weeks remaining in this year in 2023. So make sure that we set the tone. I also share a little bit of encouragement and a little bit of insight on the phrase, "It'll all work out." Let's get into it. We made it. I moved, started last Thursday, ended up moving in on Friday and getting things set up. You can probably hear a little bit of an echo. We're going to work through that together. I haven't gotten everything on the walls and gotten it set up the way that I need to with soundproof and whatnot. But I really am thankful for each and every one of you. The move was long, but it was safe. We made it. Everything made it so far, and things are getting set up. So I appreciate everybody who listened to the podcast on Thursday. That was a pre-recorded podcast, and I actually listened to it on my drive up here, and I really thought that the consistency side of things was super beneficial conversation to have, and it was really encouraging to me. So I hope it encouraged you. And now with our first podcast in the new apartment and the new setup, I'm just going to run through a few things really quick that I kind of wanted to, because we're wrapping up 2023. It's crazy. We only have 4 weeks left in 2023. And in that 4-week time frame, what is the few things, if you could allocate time 1 week, one thing a week, what would you do the last 4 weeks of this year in order to set up 2024 for the most success, right? We talk about preparation. We've talked about consistency. We've talked about discipline. We've talked about a lot of things this year. And I'm really excited because 2024 is going to be a whole rollout for this podcast. And I know that we're going to keep consistent. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. It's going to take probably a little while for me to get in the swing of things. And I might, shift some things, move some things around in the apartment in order to get a little bit better sound and a little bit better background, a little bit more aesthetics in the lighting, things like that. So we'll work with it, and I'm excited about that. But what about you? What are some of the things in your life that you are trying to prepare yourself for in 2024? Because it's so close and we're setting the tone. And I'm really thankful. I used to do this every single year. I would have a theme for the year. And in 2018, it was Be Better. That was the theme. And I am actually bringing that back for 2024. As of right now, that's the reoccurring thing for me. It's just be better. Doesn't matter what it is, just be better at it. Be better than you were yesterday. And then tomorrow, be better at whatever it is than you are today. Just continually compete against yourself. It's not against other people. You're not judging other people, or you're not trying to compare yourself to other people. You're just comparing yourself to you and you in the past. So are you better than yourself yesterday? And hopefully the answer is yes. So be better is what I've been kind of mantra going through over the last few weeks of my life. And I think that that's going to bleed into 2024. I know that there was a few times that I really was impacted by the themes of the year. I had one year, it was fight for your joy. And there's this beautiful scene in Iron Man 2 where Tony Stark is like completely, he thinks he's going to die. So he's just kind of like giving up hope. And it's the scene where he's in the donut, and Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, comes up and says, "Excuse me, sir, I'm going to have to ask you to exit the donut." And it's one of the just classic, you feel like it's out of a comic book, the way that it's kind of set up. But it's a very intricate scene. And this beautiful scene in Iron Man 2 where Nick Fury is talking with Iron Man at the diner or at the donut shop. And Iron Man essentially just is making up excuses and is like, "Look, my friend took my suit. There's a bunch of stuff going on. I'm just giving up." And Nick Fury responds, "Wait, you're Iron Man and he took your suit." And that immediately triggered me. That's how we treat our joy. Something happens throughout our day and we give up and we say, they took my joy. I don't have any more joy today. And if we just had a Nick Fury to say, wait, you have immense amounts of things in your life that you can be joyful about, and you're going to just let them take it. And it taught me to fight for my joy. And so that was the theme of 1 year was fight for your joy. And I think it's a beautiful sense. These last few years, I haven't really had a theme because I've been all over the place, emotional, mentally, physically, just spiritually. I've not been in a place where I've felt like I have been driving for anything. This is the first year, I'd say 2023 is the first year that I knuckled down and decided I am going to change. The pain of remaining who I was so bad that it was easier to change than stay the same. And it was so tough at where I was at mentally, emotionally, and physically that I knew I have to do anything. I have to do anything different. And so it made it a lot easier to kind of start setting in motion the discipline journey that I've been on, and set in motion some of the other aspects of my life where I was going to wake up and I was going to go to the gym. I was going to eat healthy. I was going to cut things out of my life. I was going to step away from some friendships, and I was going to really just change because I knew that I had to. And it was easier to do that than to stay in the same rut over and over. And maybe you're somebody who 2023 has been super hard and you've been in a lot of those ruts and you need something to change, but you're not at that pain level of where, it's still comfortable enough where at least I know it. I don't want to change yet or I want to change, but I'm not quite there yet. It gets really easy to change if things are really, really difficult. And we're going to actually talk about it because there's some really beautiful paradoxes that we're going to have a whole podcast on that I've been doing some studies on. But there's a lot of really cool paradoxes, and we'll just mix it and put it all in one podcast instead of sharing just the one paradox. But in that paradox, essentially, if things were just a little bit worse, it would cause you to actually do something about it. But since it's not that bad, then you actually never actually do anything for it or about it. So we're going to talk about that probably in next podcast or the podcast after, because I think that that's a really good conversation to have. Is maybe there are things in your life that you need to change before 2024. Maybe we have 4 weeks left. Maybe there are things that you need to start working on now and building a new habit or cutting an old habit out by creating new habits to replace them, so that 2024 rolls around, you are not sinking back into the old, you're actually putting on the new. And we're gonna talk about the new as well in some upcoming podcasts. So I'm excited because we have content for days. My life has just been focused on getting to my apartment and getting things set up and getting everything together and protected. Not breaking things on the trip. So I'm very thankful to be up here. For those of you who are concerned or wondering, I haven't really posted much on social media the last few days. Haven't posted any watch pictures either. Hopefully that is all going to be changing as we get back in the swing of things. Trying to make sure that everything kitchen's all ready to go for me meal prepping and whatnot. So maybe I'll be posting some of that. You'll see. If you want to, of course, follow me, you can always drop by. I'm on TikTok and X, formerly known as Twitter, at Kyle Vaught. Or Instagram. I post a lot of my stuff on Instagram, which is Kyle_Vaught. I hope to get Kyle Vaught at some point in time, but I digress. That's a whole nother conversation. But with 4 weeks left in 2023, I just wanted to kind of check in with you and see what we're going to do to set the tone for 2024. And it was really interesting. Last Wednesday was my last day where I went into the office and I said goodbye to all of the people who I got to work with in person. Because my previous job, the previous position, it was a fully remote, but I lived close to the office and was able to go in. So I got to meet my manager and her manager and a bunch of other people that were involved in interview processes and things like that, processes. I'm not sure if that's the correct plural. But it was really cool because I got a lot of just in-person time. I got to hug some people. And I've really enjoyed working with the people who I have. And it was bittersweet because, you're saying goodbye, but at the same time, you're moving forward and they helped you get there or you helped them get where they're going. And a lot of them have already moved forward. Actually, two of my best friends are starting their new positions together. So they actually are going to be working the same position, which was just such a cool honor. And we're all starting on the same day. So we're all going to be in training a week from today, which is really, really cool. But many of them are moving on, right? A lot of the people who I've known have been in their positions for the same amount of time that I was in my position, 18 months or maybe a year. They fulfilled their commitment in the company. And so they're looking for new things and they're looking for the next steps. And what's so cool is a lot of them that I have gotten close with all have an idea of what their career looks like and how they want their career to look. So they've networked well and they are all in, they've created a game plan. They've created a really good game plan. And there was a lot of them. I messaged a bunch of people who helped me along the way and was like, hey, thank you so much for making my time here successful because of the time you put into me and training and things like that, one-on-ones, different things like that. And one of the things that really impacted me actually was Wednesday. I kept hearing this phrase when I was talking with other people, whether it was about my move or about their transition into a new position or about them applying to a new position. There was this really interesting thing, and I kept hearing it. It will all work out. That was the phrase that I kept hearing. It will all work out. And I sat with it for a little while and I was like, yes, I mean, it will all work out, but I feel like that's a weird mentality because I heard it in the right way, right? Where somebody was trying to encourage me saying, it will all work out. Like, don't stress about it. It will all work out. And then I heard it in maybe not a wrong way, but just an odd way where it was like, I asked somebody what they were going to do and they were like, I might do this. It'll all work out. And it seemed like they didn't know what they wanted to do. Not only that, it didn't seem like they were putting any effort into it. And that's not a bad thing necessarily. If they're happy where they are, great. But I really just sat there and was like, I wonder. And it really hit me. And this phrase, it will all work out. What I've learned in life is that things usually work out more for the people who work things out. Right? You can't put in novice time and expect master experience or skill in something. And the people who work things out daily or work things out weekly tend to get more of those opportunities because they're constantly bringing in better and better experience and better skill. Or I should say, they're constantly bringing in better and better skill along with more and more experience. So the next time you're looking for a new job, or maybe you're looking for a transition, or maybe you're just unsure of what's going on, if somebody says it will all work out, I want you to use that as a trigger point to say, yes, I will work things out. Because I guarantee you, fortune will always favor the people who work harder. It will always favor the people who work harder. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to get, the promotions all the time, and it doesn't mean that you're going to win the lottery and different things like that. That's not what I'm talking about. But people who work hard put themselves in positions to get upgrades often. So whether it's a promotion, whether it's a different opportunity, or whether it's more work. Sometimes the harder you work, the more work you get because you can handle it. But there is a level of that where it's really, really good. And if you can do it for a short amount of time, I've said it before and I'll say it again. If you can do something difficult for 18 months, you will set up 5 years of your life. If you can do that difficult thing for 3 years, it will set up 10 years of your life, that next decade, if you can do something difficult. So whether it's paying down debt, whether it's putting money in savings, whether it's putting money in a 401k, whatever that might be, if you can do something difficult for 18 months to 3 years, I believe that it will set you up for a decade to be much more successful, and you will experience that success in a vast amount of ways. Now, one of the reasons why I say this is I've put in 18 months in my current position, and in previous positions, I put in 18 months or more at different areas in my life. I put in 3 years at school, going back to school later in life. And those 3 years, I really do think, maybe not in a monetary sense, in a financial sense, but those 3 years at school created relationships and a mentality that I believe has kept me going and will continue to keep me going over the decade of my 30s. I really believe it. I really believe it. And I've seen it firsthand. So that's just a part of me. And hopefully, maybe you're younger, maybe you're older, and maybe you're just wondering, I don't know what I'm going to do. Think of, what is something that you need done? And, maybe it's something with your job, or maybe it's something with money, or maybe it's something with debt, maybe it's something with car payments, whatever it might be. I don't know. Find out what your difficult thing is that you need to do. Maybe it's getting in shape. Maybe it's getting healthy. Maybe it's changing your diet, where you need to be able to have a more sustainable diet, right? You go on these difficult keto diets or things like that, where it's like you can do it for a short amount of time, but then as soon as you're done with that diet, it's like you just sink back into your normal diet. Whatever that might be, maybe that's the thing that you need to put in 18 months of consistency and something difficult in order to set you up for the next decade. That's going to do it for this conversation. I really appreciate all of you who listen. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you hit that like and subscribe button. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure that you hit that follow button. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. Make sure that you share it if you enjoy this content. If you want to find me on my socials, you can follow me at Kyle Vaught, V as in Victor, ATT, on TikTok and X, which is formerly known as Twitter. And on Instagram, which I post most of my stuff on Instagram, at Kyle_Vaught, V as in Victor, ATT. For everybody else, we're in the new apartment. I appreciate you all. I hope you have a wonderful week. And remember to give grace, show love, and as always, stay stellar. Peace.